we've talked about this show before, and now I've
Yeah,
actually seen the entirety of it, and I
great.
mean it remained phenomenal from start to finish. And I love that the response is not just from me positive, but from everybody as well. What is that like for you, seeing such a positive response to this project?
It's awesome. It's wonderful. Um, I was calling Hanks and I were traveling for a little press and talking about just making things in general, and he was like, he's like, I always think that it's like there's three miracles that happen with this job, and he was like, the first miracle is like anything gets made, anything at all like makes it to production, and then the second miracle is if it's any good, right? Like everyone everyone with best of intentions always, um and you still can wind up with a thing where you go, that didn't really get there. And then the third miracle is like if anybody watches. Like you could make something that you think, man, this is great, and people go, oh, that, yeah, I didn't watch it. So it really, it's like, and he was like, maybe you get like one of those in a career where you like make it and it's good and people watch. So um I think, speaking for he and I, but at least for myself, like I just was thrilled. I felt like we worked so hard on this and really wanted to, you know, get this story right. And for Jan, um, and her family, and then to have the response be um, positive and engaged, and you just like can't ask for anything more. So thrilled, really thrilled.
So it was funny because I was talking with Nick about this yesterday too, and he was mentioning how some audiences are talking to their TV out of frustration, which I know I certainly was too, to be honest, especially with your character. And I mean, you're honored, of course, by the positive response, but how does it feel to also know that there are people out there who are watching this and looking at you and going, "I hate you, I hate you."
It's great. We succeeded. Like crowning achievement. Yeah, it's hard with anything streaming to like keep people's attention because it's really easy to go like, oh yeah, just move on to your phone or to like flip through a magazine or to get up and go get popcorn and come back. And so if you've got people engaged enough, they're talking to you through the screen or, flipping you off or whatever it is. I feel like, job well done us, I guess. A little bit of self congratulations. Um, that's wonderful. It's great. I'll take it.
Now, with that said, I mean, this is a show that sees you have to go to some really dark depths, both as B as well as with the characters around you. And I mean, what is that like for you as an actor? Trying to find that separation during filming between going to that mental space while also still like having to clear yourself of it after filming.
I think I had the benefit of, with the exception of episode one and then episode three, where we go back and you see how this relationship between the two families built from like friends in the community to practically the same family. Other than those two episodes, I was mostly alone. It was myself and Hendrix, myself and McKenna, and you know, the occasional scene with Colin, with Anna, with Leo. But for the most part, it meant that both myself and Burge told, if that's not too like grandiose, um, got to live in the silo of being like, I'm a hero. I'm Steve McQueen. I'm a rebel. I'm misunderstood. I'm in love. You don't understand. I'm pulling off a heist. Like any number of replacement things that I built for myself along the way to be able to commit to what Berchtold's doing without um, elements of myself being in judgment of what's happening. And so there's a real benefit in getting to stay in this this silo where I'm only thinking of me. I'm only thinking of, I mean, both Jake and Berchtold, like I'm only having to focus on what I want to do and what my story is and what the scene is. And really not, it wasn't until I went to the probably first screening and I hadn't seen the episodes and so saw it like all put together for the first time. And the back half of that first episode is Gail and the Brobergs silently negotiating uh, if they should contact the authorities or not. And you seeing like the fear and desperation and discomfort from the Brobergs. That's the first time I had to see any of the fallout from Berchtold's actions. Um, yeah, that's a winding answer, but it's probably the truest.
Oh, that's perfect. Because yeah, that's I love that. And so, with that said, was there any one scene that you found to be the most challenging to prepare for, both mentally and with the script and everything, to bring to life?
The scene that really sticks with me is pretty early on. It's we've gotten a trampoline, and I plant these seeds early on in Jan's mind, saying, if my boys are tired, it's just because they've been jumping around so much, kind of wanting to like opening the door for them to be like, we got a trampoline, you should come over. And it all kind of, sorry, I thought this was on focus. Come on, computer. Sorry about that. And so then I kind of lay these breadcrumbs to let the kids discover this idea of like, we should have a sleepover. And the scene is where Jan comes inside and Gail is in the kitchen and she's woken up from sleeping on the trampoline and tells Gail, like, I must have had a dream because when I woke up, my nightgown and panties are sort of twisted up. And then without explanation, I come in from outside and say, like, what's going on? Well, let's get you a glass of water. And do you need another one of your allergy pills? And it's the first assault. Like he's just um, assaulted this little girl outside on a trampoline next to his own children as they lay sleeping, and then comes in and rubs her back. And there's this like kind of silhouetted portrait of like Gail and myself and Jan, and we sort of like pull back out of the kitchen. And that was the first time the story moved from planning this thing and he's got this obsession and kind of narratively dancing around the idea of what's to come, and then the first time that you go like, this is what he's doing, this is what it is, and this is how insidious it is, and this is how brazen and comfortable he is with doing it, and then with lying and covering it. Like it just, that was the, it's a terrible scene, it's a terrifying scene to me. So that's the one that really then kicks off like this like sexual obsession and um the trajectory to like having her by any means necessary.
It's a really harrowing setup for the rest of the show, and for, of course, Jan's real life story. Um
Yes.
which, speaking of, I mean, what is it like for you then, having her involved and having to, in a way, revisit a lot of these really troubling memories while she is there with you on set?
She was available to us as a resource, as an actor, as a human being, from the jump. And I was really hesitant. uh I just thought, I don't know what that's going to be, and was concerned that, you know, meeting her and having like real life Jan in my real life as a person would distance me from Berchtold in a way that didn't feel helpful to doing this job. And then she left me this wonderful note, describing Berchtold and his charisma and charm, and that was like his superpower. And then also the back half of this note saying like, I'm in a good place. Like this is not re-traumatizing for me. Like I'm healthy. You don't have to worry about doing this work and how it's affecting me. Like go forth. I'll be over here championing you. And that like is just meant the world to me, and is so indicative of who she is, and like the grace with which she carries herself. It's really inspiring. And and from that we ended up building this friendship that proved that I was dead wrong. That like communicating with her, having her in my life as a friend, um, made me more connected to the story and to the intentions of this piece, um, and also continue to put that fear at ease of being like, are we doing the right thing telling this story? Like, is Jan okay? Like, oh God, I don't know her seeing this, and I hope we got it right, and I hope we didn't take liberties where we shouldn't have, and all these things, to then knowing her and understanding her and her place in the world, and her intentions. And yeah, it ended up being exclusively a help, uh, as a person, but as an actor as well.
I'm glad you got to have that then, because that sounds like it was a very rich collaborative experience for you. Which
Yeah,
on
she's
some
remarkable.
on something as serious as this, you definitely want to have that kind of
Yes,
experience.
yes, yes.
And so since we've talked about the subject matter a lot, but I mean, with that said, you've also talked about McKenna and Hendrix, and I'm curious what that's like for you, being that older actor in these scenes with them, and what kind of conversations do you have with them to really help ensure that it feels like a safe space for all involved, not just for them or for you.
Well, yeah, a mix of things on a like sort of impersonal but necessary way. um, the production from the top down was so concerned and proactive in creating a space where cast, crew, kids, adults, anybody who um, you know felt the need to speak to someone, there was a therapist on set every day. um, Not like poking around, but just kind of being like, I'm here if some, exclusively for the purpose of like, if you need to talk to someone. And in a way, knowing that she was there, Kim, knowing that she was there with no other agenda, like she's not there to be like, plus we have to wrap in 4 hours. So if we could, just is exclusively there to go like, you doing okay? Great. Immediately, puts you at ease. And again, like the kids' parents were there. We have an on-site rep from the union at all times. Like all these things to create a as safe and untraumatizing, if that's a word, uh, environment to work in. The production like went out of their way to create that. And then on a personal level, if I'm doing any kind of scene with another adult that's like kissing or in bed, whatever, there's lots of things in place from a logistical standpoint to make sure that everybody is like represented and heard and comfortable with what's happening. And then also just as a human being like, are you good? Are you cool? Like anything you want different? And um, because as many like impersonal stopgaps as there are along the way, at the end of the day, like it's two people, it's me and this other person, and like I just want to find a way to go like, hey, I'm here if you need something. I'm here like if this is too much, not enough, to this, to that, whatever, like let me know. Happy to like be an advocate for whatever you want and need here, you know? And the same for the kids, whether it's like an intimate, you know, sort of scene or a scene that includes just like, my hand's going to be on your shoulder. Are you cool? Is it, you know, are you all right with this? Or anything like that. Or, you know, to the totally mundane, but being like, are you guys hot? Is it hot in this car? Do you need some waters? I can get us waters if you need waters. You know, like trying to build a foundation to be like, I'm here for you guys. I'm going to be okay. I'm taken care of. Way too many people are looking out for my well being. So, like, if you need anything, please let me know and I will make it happen as best I can. So, I've never been in a like leadership position like that in a cast or a crew or on set, and I loved it. Loved the feeling of being like, I have a voice here and I can really like make a positive impact on this day, you know? Another long answer, but hey, that's just me.
Well, it got to the heart of the question, so I
Right,
think it's a perfect answer. And
right.
I know that you have to run, unfortunately, so I will let you go. But Jake, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me again. This show is again, it's phenomenal from start to finish. I really can't wait for people to see how it comes to a close this week.